Okay, and it's starting. Well, welcome to the meeting. I'm Crystal Rogers. I just decided to go ahead and do the first one since I talked to Sister McHenry a little bit. Um, because we were trying to figure out since I needed to do it early if I was going to even be able to do that if we didn't have enough participation. So yay, thanks, guys. But yeah, I guess would either of you like to give the opening prayer?
I can do it.
Okay, thank you, Tyler.
Yep. Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this day, and we're grateful for the opportunity we have to meet together and to discuss the case study in our class. Please bless us with this, and please bless us with inspiration from the lovely. We say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. I'm just trying to make sure I have everything together with the instructions. So we have to do this group leader sign up, which we already kind of discussed it by email.
Mm-hmm.
I should have done this already. Sorry, guys. I started filling it out, but I should have uploaded it to Google Docs so that you could see it as well. Because it's asking us to go through, fill out which weeks we're going to lead the meeting. And I think we have a total of 12. And we were supposed to put like, okay, I'm leading this week. And she wants us to email it to her once we do that, once we fill it out. So I'm trying to upload it right now. I'm sorry.
It's really fine.
I'll upload. Let's see. Desktop. Let me save this. So, Tyler, Christy and I, we were kind of like talking a little bit just about like what we're doing this semester, like how many classes when we graduate, what we do outside of school. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, or?
Yeah, definitely. So currently, my wife and I just moved to Orlando from Draper, Utah, and so we are getting ready to start a new experience here where I'm doing a professional internship with Disney World.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to be a Portuguese translator. So it's gonna be really cool. Other than that, we have a 7-month-old son who loves to yell a lot, so you might hear him during the meeting. I'm studying business management. I'm not really sure what I'm going to be, but we'll figure it out, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's see, and then Christy, you are send. I just sent you guys. I guess I should have opened it in Google Docs and then sent it. But I just sent you guys a invite to the Google Doc. I'm probably gonna share it again. Sorry, so that you have the actual Google Docs copy. I just figured maybe this will be easier so that we can all see what we're doing.
Yeah, that's great. I got it.
Okay, great. If you guys want to just log into it really quick, so that I started putting this because I was just doing kind of how you guys said, and I just went with that pattern. But if there's a week that you aren't able to do and you already know, like, hey, I can't do this week because I don't know, I have this going on or whatever, we could discuss that and switch up. And then we just put our emails. And it's the second one. I don't know if you guys got the second one. I sent 2. Sorry.
Oh, let me check and see.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Can we? Okay, Chrissy, I see that you're in there. Tyler, are you? I don't see you yet. There you are. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay. I'm just gonna go in and fill out my email address. If you guys want to look and see if you're okay with the rotation, and then if you want to put your email address. We don't have to put, I don't think we have to put them all, but this is just so that she can, I guess she's going to send us some password. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
For the lesson.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Where are we putting the email address in there?
Do you see like right there where it says email? Do you see what at the top it says organizational effectiveness?
Yeah.
Okay. So right there.
Just at the top?
Just in that space under email. So if you go down some, Tyler.
I'm looking at it on my phone, so I'm trying to.
Okay. So
I don't know if I'm maybe looking at something wrong.
There you go. Yeah. Okay.
Right there.
Yes. Because I guess I have to email this to her. I think you're typing at the top, Tyler.
Oh.
If you click on. So if you actually click on space.
Okay.
And I think, Crystal, if you're in it, he can't get in that space.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me move. Get out of my way. Or if you want me, do you want me to type it in, Tyler? If you are having it since you're on your phone.
Type it. Yeah, if you want to just type it for me, if that's okay.
And it's Tyler8.
Lee at Gmail. Yeah, that's it. Tyler, the number 8, Lee at gmail.com.
Okay, great. All right, so I think that was the first thing, and I don't think we have to do it for every week. Or do you guys think so? I don't know.
I wouldn't think so.
No, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
I'm like, she should. Okay, so I'm just gonna go and I'll download that and email it to her. Now back to the case study. I'm all over the place. Okay, so the leader this week, we did that. We said a prayer. We did the group leader sign up. After this discussion activity is complete, stop. Okay, so now we could go into the discussion activity. And I have like a little agenda, I guess, I'm supposed to do. Would either of you like to give a quick synopsis of the case study or what you remember?
Yeah, I could do that.
Oh, okay.
So it's Griffin at Derby, Mary Griffin at Derby Foods. She's one of the head people. She has had someone come up to her and tell her that Simon York was yelling at people because the labels weren't properly made. The X wasn't big enough in the X Games labels. She started thinking about it, and she realized that he was kind of rude to his team in another planning meeting that had happened, or marketing meeting before. And so now she needs to figure out a way to talk to him about it, but they were very vague, and so he thinks it's going to be a really good meeting and positive thing about X Games, and it's not. So
yeah, he was already getting things together, like, oh, I'm going to talk to her about this. And I'm like, I don't think it's that kind of meeting.
Yeah.
What were your impressions or what your thoughts regarding this case?
Is that directed at both of us?
Yeah, whoever, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I honestly thought that it was an opportunity for training for Simon York. the more I read about it, I thought, oh, I guess I don't think he understands that what he did was wrong, and what he should have done is go through the production distributions leader and explain that to them instead of going straight to yell at them. He should have been like, look, I'm frustrated with this. There's a problem here. The X is too small. And, this is a really important client that we need to represent and make sure that the relationship is good. And I'm worried that this has potential to do wrong. And I think if Simon would have done that instead of going to the production floor and yelling at all the employees, like it would have prevented a lot of issues, and it would have prevented Mary from calling him in this meeting to yell at him or whatever she's doing.
I thought it was interesting in each of the situations that he had, whether it was the numbers that were wrong or this X Games label, he had nothing in place to double check. So I honestly think like he should have double checked both of those. So he should have double checked the X Game labels before they went into production. He should have checked that PowerPoint before it went into the meeting. So I feel like a lot of the issues that he has is on him.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
I agree too with both of your statements. I actually put that information down, Christy. I don't think it's just a Simon York problem. I think it's a company problem. So one of the things that, like you said, I find it crazy that there isn't a, a process, a correction process where it goes from the hands of one person to another person or something to make sure that there aren't errors. Like, especially when they, that part of the case, when he was in the meeting and the slide, the presentation, some of it was wrong. I'm like, why would you go to a meeting without probably triple checking what's going on? Another thing that I saw was the culture of this company, just the way that, what's his name? Christian. Sorry, that's the blogger that I put. But the way that the one guy approached. Mary, the way that Mary is approached by the other guy. It just seems like everyone is able to just come to the next floor, the next department without actually setting up a respectful meeting. So I was so used to when I was a manager at Nationwide, even when managers discuss with other managers, we still like emailed that manager and like, hey, I need to discuss such and such, this employee that's on your team about such and such. Do you have, or will this time frame fit with you? Like, instead of just coming, like when she said she could tell that something was wrong, like he's coming angry. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I felt the same way. It's like, wow.
Yeah, I thought that was really messed up, because exactly how you said it, that's how I've always been trained to do it, is when you have an issue, you don't go directly to the employees, you go to their leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. So I guess I'm going to go, and we have an agenda that we're supposed to go by. So, and I've said that a couple of times, sorry. But I'm just going to ask some of the questions that he's asking me to ask. And I guess whenever you guys lead as well, there will be like a document that you'll bring up and go over. But the case facts. So it asks, what is the issue in this case? So what do you guys think the issue is? I think we just discussed it, but.
Yeah, I think we definitely covered that.
Okay, so why is it important? So it says, hint, behavior that is inconsistent with the culture demoralizes others and dilutes the effectiveness of the group. So why do you think Simon York's behavior, them addressing it, why do you think that's important for the dynamics of the culture?
Well, I think it said, like, when he was talking in that meeting, he was talking down to them, and then it said like they were looked down. They were shuffling uncomfortably. They just wanted the meeting to end. So I just don't think it has a very positive goal in mind as far as like what they're working toward. It's more of a fear-based, which will never work. Like it just won't ever work.
Right, I totally agree. And don't you think that that would lower people's self-esteem eventually? Like you said, they were shuffling, so that tells us that they were uncomfortable and they already probably felt pretty bad.
Yeah.
And the more you do that,
yeah, definitely.
You're not going to have long-term employees when you run a business like that. It's just not going to work.
I agree. It's like I hate going to work.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of turnover.
Okay. Let's see. And I think we already discussed this. It says, what are the specific behaviors that raise concern?
Yeah, we went over that.
We already went over that. Okay, so now it's going into culture at Derby Foods. What do you believe is the culture at Derby Foods?
It doesn't seem like they're... I'm kind of confused by that question, actually.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Stacey. Christy.
I think it's really lax. Their culture is very lax. They don't have any processes put in place. They are very... I guess it looks like maybe open with, the vice president, the guy able to just come to her without a formal meeting. But I feel like it's very unorganized.
That's what I think about. I'm like, the culture, I would be so confused in this company. I mean, I like a culture that's more structured, but then also supportive.
Yeah.
Where I feel like I could come to work and I'm respected. I have friends, and it just seems like that's not in this culture. So the morals of this culture, they're missing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't seem like a very professional organization.
Get me out of here.
Yeah, I think that's what's lacking in it. They don't seem to really have an understanding of what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It asks us, what do you think are the beliefs that support the culture? And I think that we hinted to it. It's just, it's not organized, and people, I also think another belief is that people believe that they could just do and say what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's no training or like even mentor program. They could kind of get something like that. So when Simon York got promoted, he could have had some training and had a mentor telling him and teaching him how to talk to people and things like that. And, that didn't happen either. So I think that might have been one of the other issues.
Yeah. And I actually, I like how you said that, Christy, because I mentioned that in my case study. I talked about how there needed to be a more in-depth training for those processes for each employee to understand what is needed and who to go to and who to seek out reconciliation if needed too.
Yeah.
I agree. I put that as well. I put that, I don't think just Simon needs to be trained. I think that they all need to be trained. They need some type of leadership courses. They need etiquette courses. And I think that they also need team building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Let me see. What's the next question? Okay, so the next question is, what is Mary's role in establishing the culture? So what that means is, or going into a little bit of detail to try to help to identify what her role is how is she supporting the culture, or how is she working against the culture?
Well, first, I think she's not doing a great job because he hasn't been trained. There is no mentorship or anything like that. He just got promoted. They haven't, she hasn't told him about all the good things that he's done. So she's never had a meeting about any of the good things. And I think when they were in that meeting, what do they call it? The marketing meeting or brand review meeting. When she saw that and saw all of his team like unmotivated, she should have talked to him right then. And so I think that was a major issue, that she didn't bring that up and talk to him and see what was going on at that moment. And so now it's just too late to bring it up. You know, she has to do it. So I think that was a really big issue, that she's not uplifting her employees and telling them what they're doing right. And then I also think her assistant should have been way more specific about what the meeting was about, and she should have made sure of that.
I thought that was crazy that it was just so open-ended. She didn't, the assistant, and then I didn't understand why maybe Mary didn't herself. At least with this situation, it's a difference if you're just setting up a meeting to go over stuff, but when you're trying to reprimand someone, or someone is in trouble, like if someone's going to get fired, that should be something that's between the direct supervisor and the employee. Not like, hey, assistant, go and set this up. Like, I've never seen that happen. But I like that you said that she's going against the culture because she allowed this behavior. She didn't address it when it first came up. Now she's supporting it in a sense now that she's trying to provide feedback, but she waited, and she should have addressed the issue when it first occurred.
Yeah, she still approached it the wrong way for sure.
Right. Do either of you have any other input on that question?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I don't know how long I don't see where I could time the meeting. I know it says that we need at least 45 minutes. I mean, we still have 2 more questions, but I feel like we pretty much know what's going on.
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to like fly through this meeting. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to like stretch this out to, or how we're going to stretch this out to 45, but we'll see. I don't know how long we've been on. The next question is, what is Simon's role establishing or maintaining the culture? So basically, how is he, it's the same, how is he supporting the culture or working against it? And we'll have touched on this, but just for the sake of time.
Tyler, I don't want to be overbearing, so if you want to start.
No problem.
Okay.
So I think that Simon in himself, he has been in that environment for so long. He is very relaxed and thinks that he can just do whatever he wants. So in a sense, he's still supporting the culture. He's still following the same processes that he believes are correct. So I guess he's supporting the culture to that extent.
I 100% agree. Tyler, thank you for that. Let's see. What is the team member's role in establishing or maintaining the culture? So it's the same questions. How are they supporting the culture, or how are they working against the culture?
You know, the team could have stepped up and said, "You need to talk to my manager." You know, when he went and he talked to them on the floor. I mean, that's honestly what I first would have done. I'm like, look, I honestly don't make these decisions. You need to discuss this with my manager.
Right. Have you guys ever been put in a situation like this ever, where you were approached by someone other than your supervisor, or maybe where you approached someone else?
I've been approached.
How did that make you feel?
First, I got defensive because I'm like, first of all, you're not my manager, so like, what are you doing? And like, we're on the same level, you know. And secondly, it was something that like was totally taken out of context. That was, I think if they would have thought about it or even talked to a manager about it, the manager would have shut it down immediately because it was something that was like hearsay, you know, or whatever. So I just think, yeah, I think like it's annoying. I hate it.
Yeah.
And I think people kind of overstep their boundaries sometimes, and it's like, you know, take a step back. But I get irritated by it, and I get defensive real quick.
Yeah, it rubs you the wrong way, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to agree. I remember we had this guy who I worked with. He made manager, so we were on the same level, peers. And we were, both going for a manager position. He actually made manager before I did, but we were still both peers before making management or managers. And I forget what happened, but we were on the floor, and I think I accidentally done something. And just the way that like he called me out on it and how rude he was, as if he was like my manager already. I was just furious. I'm like, wait, like you're not even a manager. Like, why are you like the proper thing to do is to go and tell a manager or someone. But yeah, I agree, Christy. You get defensive. Like, wait a minute.
Exactly. Well, and I think this brings up the exact point. If he should have had, or the company should have had something in place for him to double check that before it went to print. Like that, when I was reading that, I was shocked that that hadn't happened. I'm like, seriously? Like they just printed all these labels? Like that just, I don't know. That just didn't seem right.
Nope. I wasted money, right? Company's money.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so what will you recommend supporting, stopping, or continuing in each role? I'm just gonna like ask these questions, and you guys can say like what you would start, stop, or continue. So, how should Mary approach the discussion? So, the discussion that she is going to have with Simon York, how should she approach it?
I think, well, what I wrote, what I think is, she has to come with it as, what did I say? She has to come with it as, and be careful, because since the meeting call was so vague, he probably has no idea, why they're calling the meeting. And so like put yourself in that position if it were reversed, like she would feel blindsided, and then it's going to be a really bad issue because he's going to get defensive, and then he won't hear anything she's saying. Right. So I think like that needs to happen. And then I also think that she can only talk about this issue. So she cannot talk about the marketing issue, the issue in the meeting. She should only talk about this one issue that happened right then, because it was too long ago. Right. She can't talk about that. Yeah.
I think both of you touched on something earlier that I liked, and I think you both said that she doesn't even give like good feedback. So I think another way she can approach it so that he doesn't feel like she's just negative and coming like being mean, and because you have to consider his feelings as well. But I think another way she can approach it is maybe start by telling him like, Simon, you are doing, or your behavior and such and such and such and such is really good. Like I think it said that he has really good skills with marketing and just bringing or growing the sales and stuff. Mm-hmm. But then the way he approached his behavior, the way he approached people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What are the key items that should be covered? And I think you kind of touched on this, Christy, just now.
Mm-hmm.
How can Mary best reinforce the culture?
Well, it starts with leadership. It starts with who herself, as well as her other managers who are out there on the floor. They need to make sure that the processes are being followed and implement those processes accordingly.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, and she can address that in all of her meetings with them each and every week.
I like that, so that she can make sure they understand. If someone, doesn't understand, maybe once she addresses it again each time, then people are like, oh, okay, she's being consistent, so they get it.
Exactly.
What are the most effective methods Mary can use to make the discussion productive?
So I wrote a few things. She needs to be specific, factual, unemotional, and then directed at the performance instead of the employee personally.
Mm-hmm.
So not getting his personality in that it's just the issue that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if she asks his side of the story as well, that will get him talking about the issue, and then she can try to correct it. So asking questions, his side of the story, and then asking questions to follow up with that, or what are things that he can do, like asking him the questions so that he's making the point and giving the answers. And so it's more of his idea, and that would put him so he's not so defensive as she's talking to him.
I agree. That's the best way, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Let's see. The next one, describe the principles of effective feedback and how it applies to this situation. I think you just,
Yeah.
You kind of.
I put on something on that topic. I put that she can have him maybe think about the questions that she asked and not get back to her right away, and then to schedule a meeting with him maybe in a week, and they can kind of get a written plan in place of specific improvements that he can work on, and then she can follow up with that in another month or two and see what changes that he's made. And I think that would help, him, because he's making the ideas and then she's following up. So there's like the ideas and the follow through to make sure that he's accountable for it.
I agree. I also think that she can, and you kind of touched on this already, but she could definitely make sure he understands by just asking him, like, hey, what happened? So get his side of the story. And then just asking him, like, like how do you think that made people feel, or even put himself in the shoes of those people that he offended.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's an effective method, because then you really, once you see how you would feel, then I think you can identify with others.
Yeah, exactly. And once if she sees those changes before they meet again, she needs to let him know right away, in that moment, so that he's motivated to keep going.
Mm-hmm. That's one thing I learned from this case study, is you can't wait. When something happens, you need to address it immediately. You can't wait, like, oh, I'll talk to him next week. Because that just doesn't work.
Just let it go. Like in that meeting, she just kind of let it go, and
she just assumed, right?
Yeah.
Describe the principle. Okay, we just did that. What is your recommendation for the discussion? I'm interested to hear this. So, what would you guys recommend?
Recommend for the company to do, or?
Correct. So maybe this is a better question. Sorry, I'm going to go off of, like, I know that we have questions that we're supposed to ask, but I'm just going to ask this. What are some short-term goals that you put down on this for Simon, the company, to get back on track? So for me, I put she needs to be direct and clear. She needs to look at Simon while she's talking to him and state the good feedback first. Those are just 3 of the top ones, but what are some things that you guys put?
I would say implement a communication procedure for employees and leaders, as well as leadership with leadership. And I would also implement a procedure for organization for meetings. I would have a training on that as well, because obviously everything could have been prevented if they would have just known how to be organized, which seems pretty basic, but yeah.
It's like, where is this company coming from? No, I get it. So my husband is a pilot in the Air Force. So we are here in San Antonio, Texas, training for a short time. We should be leaving next month to move to California. But before coming here, I worked at the district attorney's office, and I remember being so frustrated because, so first of all, they had people in management positions with no experience in management, nor did they have degrees for management. So when you would go and talk to the manager, she had formed like friendships with employees under her, like on my same level and on other people's same levels. And so if I would go and tell her something confidential, like, hey, I'm going through such and such, then everyone in the office would know.
Oh my gosh.
And so reading this case study, it sounds crazy that they're not organized and they do not know the basics of how to run a business, or even HR is what it is.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I agree.
It's true. It happens in the real world. I was blown away. And every time, going through, and you guys could probably agree, but us going through these classes and you learn the right way to do things, I'm just like, man, like these people have no idea.
Yep.
Well, and they're setting themselves up for lawsuits and like that kind of thing too. So it's like, I don't know, it's scary.
Well, like you said earlier, they don't retain employees. Like people are constantly in and out the door, like leaving every month. They're hiring.
Oh, geez.
Even attorneys. So it's crazy.
That's too bad. That would really suck.
Yes.
So let's see, what principles, if any, from this lessons reading applies to this case? What principles do you guys think would apply? And I think this is the last question.
Principles.
I'm trying to remember the top of my head.
I'm Googling, sorry. So I think being respectful.
Yeah.
That's a person, you have to have respect. I think that's what this company lacks. Like the supervisor going to Mary the way that he did, Simon addressing people the way that he did, Mary's assistant being vague, like that just shows you they lack respect, and that's just
you hit the nail on the head on that one.
Yeah, I agree completely with that one.
All right, and I think we started at what, 10:15?
Well, I think ours are probably not going to be as long because we only have 3 people.
Okay.
When other groups have 6 or 7, I think, or 8 even. Like, it's going to go a lot longer because there's a lot more people to talk. And I think,
because I was going to say we're done, guys.
I think like she'll probably know, that it's just not going to take as long because there's not going to be as much discussion as there would be if there's a bunch of people. So.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Tyler.
Oh, I was just saying it still took like 40 minutes.
Yeah, so we're right there. I'm just going to finish up with the closing comments really quick. That's the last thing, which I really don't have much. But do either of you have anything that you want to say or anything that you want to discuss going into next week? Or are you good?
I'm good.
I was like, I haven't even looked at next week, so I don't know.
Nope, me neither.
Yeah, exactly.
I do one week at a time.
Yeah, but Christy, you're gonna lead, right?
Yes, I will lead. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So just closing comments, and I think it says make sure you guys understand, but you guys, you definitely understand what's going on. I think we all do.
The Rockstar group. Woohoo.
Yeah.
So I just think that it all comes down to, like you two said, setting goals, training, team building, respect. Just all of that will help and influence the culture of this company. And those are my closing arguments. We don't have to do a closing prayer, but since we did a opening prayer, would one of you mind, or I can? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Okay.
Our dear and gracious Heavenly Father, we thank thee so much for the opportunity for us to meet together and to learn from one another. We thank thee for the opportunity that we have to go to school and have a faith-based education. We thank thee for everything that thou hast given us, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you guys.
All right, bye. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.